Owen's got a much better hat on this week.
Oh, don't you
Um,
worry.
no. What does that even say?
Shout out
Tracktown,
Tracktown Pizza.
Oh, I mean,
the
it's not
best
a
pizza
big.
in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a Eugene sponsorship on here, guys. But I mean, it certainly wouldn't hurt. Yes, welcome back to a episode of Soundwaves from the Sea, your Botafogo official podcast. No, uh, see Michael's face just instantly changed. Um, yeah, man, we are officially in the Club World Cup. It is actually happening right across the street over at Lumen Field. I'm at T-Mobile Park, so I'm like literally across the street. I could have walked into that match considering that the attendance was only 11,000. I really wish that they'd marketed this whole tournament better, but that's not here nor there. Um, my friends, I think your one chance to get a result came and went, and it is very frustrating considering how close it was. Um, yeah, man. I mean, this is tough. This one's tough to look at. I mean, just looking at, I think we've referenced the momentum chart one of the last few weeks, and
Mm.
looking at this one, seeing how much green there is, seeing the Seattle double Botafogo and XG having 23 total shots. It's fascinating stuff. Club legend Christian Roldan. I don't know if anyone would disagree with that. I don't that's not like a talking point per se, but like I know there are certainly takes on Sounders discourse, right? But I did think it was interesting seeing that like Christian Roldan seems like a guy who just comes and does the work so often, and I guess I kind of take that for granted, so that's my fault. But um yeah, man, I'm gonna just throw it off immediately as we get into this to you guys what you saw. We'll go to just because it's not a giant O on his hat. I'm gonna go with Owen. Um, on this one, and then I'll go to Michael, who, still day to day. We'll have to see if he trains separately to determine his availability. But yeah, I mean, again, feels like not to like doom bait, but it does feel like this was the one chance you were gonna get to get um a result as the Sounders fell 2-1 to Botafogo in the first match of group play.
I mean, I came out of this one feeling pretty positive. Um, I do understand that it was probably your one chance to get a result, but this was far better than I thought they were going to play the Sounders. I thought I was excited by the fact that they really took this game and decided to try to control it. Um, and that they succeeded. I think that, there's games even recently that we've seen where they've tried to control a game, like the Vancouver game, and just have really struggled. And we talked about this to progress the ball, and that wasn't an issue in this one. The best players were Christian Roldan and Obed Vargas, just because they could progress the ball through the midfield. And we know that this Botafogo team is not the same Botafogo team that qualified, but it's also not the same Sounders team. And it's a Sounders team that we've seen struggle with a lot of things that didn't look like issues in the game. And so, yes, this should have been a point, maybe even 3 points. There were some missed opportunities that I'm sure we'll talk about, but I come out of this one feeling pretty positive because, like we said, they were very competitive in this game, and that's what we asked for before the tournament.
Yeah, that's all we wanted. We didn't. None of us expected them to go get any wins out of this group, even against this Botafogo side. But like we saw this team not back down against one of the most historic clubs in South America. We saw players like Obed Vargas, who came through our academy, absolutely ball out against some of the strongest midfielders in South America. Like, I think I've seen a lot of like on Twitter and I've listened to other podcasts where people were expecting the Sounders to be happy to be playing this tournament, but everyone keeps talking about how this is probably the best game of the tournament so far. And I put this out on Twitter that I do believe this is going to be the best game in Club World Cup history.
So
Even
far,
the upcoming final. Nope, so not even so far. This will be the best game in Club World Cup history.
you're forgetting
Even
Wow.
that Liverpool final where Firmino scored in like the 109th minute to win it. You got to like really know your Club World Cup history.
Nah, that Paul Rothbard cross to a Christian Roldan deflection.
It was a deflection. It was a deflection. I mean, do you want to talk about this goal? I mean, like it was. I they had better opportunities, but
This ball
it's a
should not have
great
gone in.
no. It was a free kick that got recycled out wide. I was happy to see because we've seen the Sounders struggle with free kicks since they're missing those big targets in the box, like especially Amar. But you go out, you recycle it, you get it back in. And Christian Roldan is not a tall guy, but he gets his head on that. Um, he really fights for that ball, and that's what needs to happen on these second chance opportunities. That's championship mentality, as we say here.
Championship mentality.
Yeah,
I mean,
fighting
I
for
gotta
second
say, like
balls.
it was great to see like Christian Roldan had all the time in the world just to get the perfect spot and perfectly headed in, and I just feel like you said, there were so many other better chances even before and plenty after that as well. Like this game easily could have been 3-2, or hell, I
I'm
mean,
curious what the
we'll get
XG
to
on, but I'll get that for you.
uh
That was a .03 XG chance
0.03.
from Christian Roldan.
I will say the
The
only
Jackson Reagan one that he missed
oh my
on the top of the
start
6 yard box was .92 for what it's worth.
God, the Jackson Reagan one, and then the Pedro de la, both
Yep.
Pedro de la Vega chances, the whiff that he had inside the box with his left foot, perfect ball from Paul Rothbard, 30 minutes after Christian Roldan's goal. He should have hit that. We've seen him hit that in training and in games. And then literally that last play before the final whistle, where the goalkeeper was literally on the ground, like three shots, like going towards the goal, just getting blocked and blocked and blocked. I don't understand how the ball didn't go in. But like the Sounders were fantastic on the night. Anyone saying otherwise, whether it's these stupid MLS heads on Twitter or Blue Sky, they're trying to say otherwise, which I'm currently fighting with on the internet. They're trying to say otherwise that this was a horrible game. No, the Sounders looked like they belonged in this tournament.
Yeah, I think to go back to obviously build off what Mike just said there and what Owen like started with. Yeah, I mean, I did see some commentary. This was like one of the more entertaining Sounders matches in quite some time. I mean, throw it in there, but yeah, I mean, I guess this does like kind of lead me into a couple of questions: is how much does this club truly miss Yamar Gomez Andrade? Because like, I mean, obviously that goes beyond Club World Cup, right? Just considering how what was it, a week or two ago, you were down to who are you down to? It was John
Stu
Bell,
Hawkins.
Stu Hawkins is broken now. Um, the thought of playing Cody Baker at center back, who, like, hey man, I was Clip Cody Baker had his like Linsanity run what last year or 2 years ago. I was like that was great and all. Um, yeah, how much do they miss him? Because I mean, Jesus Christ. I guess maybe not. I don't know. Like I feel like that's obvious. They miss him a lot, right? Um, but the biggest thing that I saw in terms of discourse, because I did see what Michael was talking about with MLS heads being like, "Oh, Sounders do garbage." I'm like, "All right, you just sound stupid." Like I'm just gonna lump this in with the Alexia Lawless discussion. Like all of that's just trash. Um, like I think it did like the big thing that I saw that was that this just emphasizes how much this club needs a nine right now. Uh, is there any commentary on that? Because I know it was interesting seeing the lineup. Right, shoot, was it Moose up top if I remember correctly? And they put
Yeah,
Jesus
Yeah.
out on the wing.
yeah.
Um, yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm all for some Moose, but um,
He kind of looked out of
certainly
his
would.
depth, to be honest.
Mm, yeah,
I mean, he's been serviceable in MLS for us. He's been great, but I know I've been shouting from the rooftops, put him on the U.S. men's national team. Obviously, it's a joke, but I mean, like he didn't look like he was ready for this. He couldn't battle physically against two center backs, especially in that 20 and against 20-year-old Cunha for Botafogo. I just feel like if we had an actual target number 9, and no, that's not Jordan Morris because he's more of a wide forward, and no, it's not Jesus Ferreira because he's more of a play in those half spaces or a false 9. But if we had an actual hold up play, big man striker, I think we'd be doing even better. And this game proved it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't super enthused by the wing play here. I'm just looking through a couple of these stats. Jesus Ferreira and Ryan Kent combined for 4 touches in the opposition box. They were all Jesus Ferreras, actually. Um, you know, and they play different roles. You look at Jesus Ferreira as a guy who's hopefully going to combine, and I thought it was an interesting decision to put him out there on the wing. And you look at Ryan Kent as a guy who's going to take guys on one. Jesus Ferreira, if we're looking at these, 82% passing, but uh, two passes into the final third, zero, like 0 of 1 accurate crosses, 2 of 2 accurate long balls for what it's worth. Um, and when you're looking at Ryan Kent, you have no touches in the opposition box, dispossessed 3 times, 0 of 3 accurate crosses, 3 of 8 dribbles. They're trying, but it didn't really work for me.
No, and I think the problem with having a player like Jesus Ferreira, especially out on the wing, he's more like I said, he plays in the half spaces, and when he started moving inside and like kind of unintentionally like shifting into the middle, kind of where Albert Rusnak was, we saw him his link up play and his passing around was really good. But when he's having to sit out wide more, it's kind of a waste.
Yeah, he just didn't really have an impact.
Yeah, player on that skill set, you want to keep him inside. That's why I'm kind of intrigued. I kind of want to see. This might sound crazy, but maybe benching Albert Rusnak next game and putting in Jesus Ferreira as a 10, just kind of see what happens. Because he's definitely he's more dynamic than Albert Rusnak. He may not have good passing or his link of play with the striker and the wingers might not be as good, but I think having that movement in those half spaces, I think, could be critical for us.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious about that because I think for as many people have an issue with Albert Rusnak, I think that what he does for this team is very important. And like it's one of those things that you don't really notice all the time, but he really does provide a link there. And he's almost playing 2 roles sometimes when the forward starts to disappear. He has a lot of times been that link player when Sounders can't progress the ball through the midfield, which we've been talking about for a few weeks here. That he is a player who consistently can progress it both on the dribble and with a pass. I'm sure the stats can back and stuff, and we'll pull something for that really quick. But I'm curious. I'm curious what the benefit is because I think dropping Rusnak would be a big decision.
Yeah, I think it'd be more detrimental. I'll be honest, but I'm just curious to see how Jesus Ferreira would be as a 10. Like I know, like Albert Rusnak is the most important player on this team. Him, Obed, and Christian are the 3 most important players on this team, especially with how we play, how we move forward. But I'm curious. I just want to see like how that would look.
Really, really, how this ends is we play Jesus Ferreira as a box-to-box 8, and just see how that works.
I mean, they did that with Rusnak a couple seasons ago, so.
Oh yeah, that'll work. It'll be great. Just watch.
So is that the plan? Is you do that? You have him go through the Albert Rusnak journey, have him play out of position wildly, have him get bashed online, and then play him properly, and he'll succeed. And then everyone will, well, not everyone.
Oh no, it's that maybe his skill set actually does fit playing in midfield a little bit better. Just he's the new Joe Linton. It's all good.
Wow.
I love that.
I never know.
So yeah, we can boost
when
that
I get on with
Owen
you
Murray
guys.
says Jesus Ferreira is Joe Linton.
Yeah, get the quote graphic out, buddy.
Yes.
Just gonna find go to get that picture that I was like Owen's Twitter profile picture. It's him in a suit and he's like doing the hand motions and he's talking, and that's the picture in the quote graphic. It's Jesus Ferreira, it's Joe Linton. Boom. MLS heads would kill you with a spear. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna name names. I know I can be very messy, but there was this one account that was, I know we all mentioned that, they weren't gonna sign somebody in the exclusive window ahead of this the tournament, right? And they were all, I gotta go find it exactly. The dumbest take I saw from any Sounder fan was that we shouldn't sign any potential, we didn't know brother was on payroll. We shouldn't sign any potential impact players for Club World Cup because they would have had only 10 days to gel. Who cares? This game needed a striker. I mean, I don't know. Any discourse on that? Because I understand it. I mean, like, I understand frustration there because I mean I know we've talked about the want for a nine because you don't have that. We just talked about that. But we've also talked about how this front office, this ownership group isn't just going to sign a player to have for a rental, right? From what I remember, anything that Craig Weibel has said, it's that they want to sign somebody that they're going to have now and in the future, right? So I don't know. I know it's not great to go off of rage bait discourse, but any thought on regret for not using the window, or you're happy still with not using the window?
I mean, using the window would have been great. It's just not realistic, and I'm okay with that. We have a strong enough roster, not strong enough to compete in this Club World Cup. That was never going to be a thing. But I think doing rage baiting like that is irresponsible because you know that you're going to be catering to a certain crowd of fans, and those fans are always the loudest and they're always the most obnoxious. And it's a silly take. You can't be
Yeah, I
you can
mean,
never be taken
no,
as a serious journalist if you're going to be posting stupid stuff like that.
yeah, I mean, there is potential benefit if you have a player who you want to sign, and if they had a player in mind, then you get a couple extra weeks because you're not signing a player for the Club World Cup. If you're signing a striker now, you're signing a striker for the end of this season and for the future. And hey, if you get a couple extra weeks, when some players are out on international duty, some players are injured to get this player to gel, then that's fantastic. But you're not signing a player for the Club World Cup. It's just not what's going to happen.
No team is
Nope.
going to be doing that.
No. Um, I'll continue with sort of player discourse because I know some happened the other day. Was it last episode? Um, this the Vancouver match with Nuhu's red card.
Mm.
Um, we talked about it off camera. Uh, no, I don't think we talked about it on camera, right? I think it was just strictly off camera. We talked about Nuhu getting baited into that. I will say the Club World Cup has had a lot of interesting things, but the ref cam is pretty decent.
I love it.
Um, where you can see the Botafogo player shove Nuhu, and then second, it's almost like you can see him think about it and like think if he should be doing it, and then he goes through with it. Um, Obviously there's frustration there, right? Is there any thought at all to take Nuhu out and play a Reed Baker Whiting, or I don't know what the other options are. I mean, I'm sure I could look at the reserves from this match if I pull that back up. But yeah, is there? Oh wait, I can just go to I have the foot mob pulled up. Is there any thought to that? Because I just feel like Nuhu, yes, has made that mistake. Um, but I don't. I'm not sure if there any. Well, maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's good. I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to think about that because yes, it's irresponsible, but also who gives you a bit like a truly legitimately better option flat out as a player in Nuhu's position.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't something new. This isn't something that Sounders are surprised by. Um, and so I think that that's a decision that they've made. I wasn't surprised to see Brian Spencer not pull Nuhu. I wasn't surprised to see him left in there. Because he does make those mistakes, and that is something that you have to be very frustrated with. But I don't think that that's a mistake they're going to make, and I don't think there's a better option, um, especially against the level of players that you're playing against, and kind of with the strategy that the Sounders were employing in this game, which was to kind of commit a lot of players forward. They were pushing a lot, and that meant that Botafogo broke sometimes. And while some of the Sounders options may be better going forward, none of them are going to be a better defensive option, even if your best defensive option sometimes will shove a player over and make a poor decision like that.
100% agree. There's not a single player on this roster that could do what Nuhu does. There are very few players in this league that can do what Nuhu can do as a 1v1 defender on the left hand side. I I understand people clamoring, being like, "Oh, Reed Baker Whiting. He's such a better option." But if we watch Reed's tape, which he did a good job, I'm not gonna say he didn't. He did a really good job getting forward, getting into the box, getting inside. But his defensive play wasn't all that great. He was caught out of position a few times. Literally, the moment he gets subbed on in the second half, 3 minutes in, he makes a poor decision by making a challenge missing, and Botafogo gets a shot on. I feel like Nuhu is the set it and forget it left back starter unless we sell him on. And there is no way that Reed Baker Whiting starting at left back is going to be our best option moving forward. I'd rather see Cody Baker there, rather see him get a shot because he's an actual defender as opposed to a winger playing out of position. But I don't know. I mean, I'm with you, Owen. Nuhu is a starter. There's
Yeah,
no
I
one
mean,
else to do this.
for what it's worth, speaking of kind of players who came up through the system who are good defenders, I was surprised to not see Kalani Kosa-Ramsey start this game. I was surprised to not see him play because of how strong he's been, because of the fact that this is an opportunity to kind of showcase young talent and give them a shot in the eyes of the world. I was surprised to not see him play.
It makes me think that maybe there are certain players that are being scouted and have been talked about, or the Sounders have been talked to about. I know I'm looking into it. I'm not trying to like just put random stuff out into the ether, but like that just makes me think like I think you're right. It would have been nice to have Ramsey starting or playing at least, but oh no.
And not only because I think, he's a better player in some aspects than Alex Roldan, but because he's more marketable. Alex Roldan is not gonna have a transfer in the next 2 years. Kalani Kosa-Ramsey very well could. I mean, maybe that's to another MLS team. Maybe that is somewhere in Europe, but I think that's a legitimate option, unlike Alex Roldan.
Agreed.
Also, just wrapping up the defense here, Kim Ki-hee had a fantastic block in the first half. That was honestly kept the Sounders in this game. If that's a goal, it changes so quickly. And even though the Sounders did concede a first half goal, conceding it in the first 20 minutes or so, there would have been just devastating. And I don't think we would have seen the Sounders come out of their shell as much as they had and really maintain that momentum. So shout out Kim Ki-hee, the most level-headed Sounders defender.
Shout out my Asian brother. Um, yes, I will acknowledge that. It's been pretty fascinating because I remember when he was first signed, there was some thought about, hey, this guy is, I'm going to use my swear word. This guy's fucking old. Like, what are we doing here with the nostalgia tour? But I mean, he's been pretty solid for them through obviously league play, and then to see him do this. Uh, I will go back though to like kind of the outside back discussion, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, looking at the list of reserves from this match, I was like, if there's anybody, if you truly decide for whatever reason you want to not play new, I was like, I guess the only, and maybe I sound fucking stupid saying this, the only guy I would trust playing in that position is if we're deciding to play Kalani on the left, which probably not the greatest idea, but honestly, I mean, I'd trust him more there than your other guys. Like you mentioned, Reed's fine, but I just haven't seen him for the last few years take a step. I mean, he's been exciting at times, don't get me wrong, right? But yes, I will say, I will go back to what Mike was saying. I don't think that's crazy at all to think that there are certain players that have been scouted, right? I mean, this is great opportunity in front of some of the greatest clubs in the world. I don't think the Sounders are selling anyone on to Paris Saint-Germain, but you never know. Things are crazy. Um, I don't think that is a wild thing to say at all. Um, we're not going to go out and put a report on it, right? Sounders looking at exclusive players. You know, that's not us. But makes me wonder about it, right? So there's that discourse. Oh, I hate to do this to my goat, but I did see some thoughts on Stefan Fry with the two goals. Probably should have. There were some thoughts. Some fans thought he should have absolutely made a save on at least one of them. I am relying on these two today because, admittedly, oh, we have thoughts. I can see that we have thoughts. Again, I know it's dangerous to go off of fan banter, fan discourse, right? Because there's just so much doo-doo garbage out there. Um, what did you guys see on the Botafogo goals? Because yeah, there was some thought that Stefan Fry should have absolutely been better, right? There's always discourse about the goalie needs to do this and this. I understand the top goalies in the world, top goalies in the league, whatever, they make the big saves, right? Um, I am assuming we don't agree with that. I am interested to see what you guys thought on the Botafogo goals and if there's any blame to go on Steph.
I'll be honest. I put something out there in like my full time thoughts that I thought that Fry should have done better on the second goal.
Okay.
First goal, he had there was no getting that. It was a perfect ball from Alex Tellez, and it was a good header. I'm fine with that. But I rewatched that goal and I watched Stephen Fry's movement on the second goal. The way he is kind of backpedaling to get onto his line, and the way he struggles to even move to try and make that save. I feel like we've seen him make a save like that in the past. I feel like we've seen him do better with his positioning and his movement in that box. That's just my opinion. I just feel like he could have done better on the second one. Am I angry about it? No, by no means. It was still a good goal, it was still a good play, but I still think he could have done a little better. I'm not gonna say he's shit or that he needs to be benched for Andrew Thomas, but I don't know. I just think he could have done better. That's about it. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough to say that he. I agree with you on the first one. I think it's tough to say that it's absolutely a save he should have made on the second one. That's exactly, if I'm a striker, that's exactly what I'm asking for. I'm asking for a header across the goal into the ground, to make the goalkeeper get down, and then it's going to bounce right in front of him. I think it's a save that he's made before. I also think that again, like what you were talking about, backpedaling on the line. I think it's tough to put a ton of blame onto him for that one.
It's not.
I understand. I
There's no
understand
way
where you're
yet,
at,
but
though.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And I saw that too, Charles. I feel like fans were trying to blame Fry. And while I'm saying yes, Fry do a little better on that, but it's not his fault that Archer had all the space in the world with both Nuhu and Ryan Kent right there trying to defend him. It's not his fault that Igor Jesus, who is off to the Nottingham Forest here in a couple weeks, got the best of Kim. It's just I don't know. It sucks to concede like that.
And he also he made some very good saves in this game too. One in
Yes.
particular, really did give the Sounders a shot to win this one. As he does for the
In
last
every game.
decade plus. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I hate to throw like gross discourse at you and be
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, thoughts, but like, especially with goalies, to me, being involved in, hockey coverage and soccer coverage is always fascinating to see who just immediately blames a goalie, right? It's just like, oh, the goalie should have done this. I'm like, well, I feel like there's more layers to this, right? So I figured I'd present that up there. Um, yeah, anything else? I feel like we've gone to a few different, segments of this Botafogo match. Anything that I didn't touch on that you guys thought is necessary? I can speak English. Is necessary to tell the story of this match, or you think we got it covered pretty good?
No, I'd probably just go to, yeah, do you guys want to see any changes for this second game? Either, tactically or here I want to see Kalani play. I want to see Trajan Souza. I want to see somebody different up front.
I just want to see Rienzi play. I want to see him on that right hand side. Not that Rodon had a bad game, but I feel like definitely Rienzi could be a little better defensive option on the right hand side.
I think Diego
I think it'd be
Simeone would
fun.
love Kalani Rienzi.
Oh yeah,
A right wing
hardworking,
back who's
gets
like
stuck
a
in the
dog,
tackle.
dude. Oh yeah, okay. I think he would love him. Yeah, I'm interested to see if they make that change. I think we were talking about Jordan Morris and why you don't risk him in this game as well. I think that's the right decision.
You think we see
Yeah.
Musovsky or Jesus Ferreira up top?
I
Ooh,
think you'd
yeah,
see Musovsky.
that's okay. That is Danny Musovsky meet Atletico Madrid. Oh my God. That is
I
something
will
I
say
was
though,
like,
Atleti is missing Lenormand in this game. He's got a red card against PSG.
oh, that's right. Uh, hmm, hmm.
Sorry, I had to sound
Yeah.
like a douche saying it like that. Lenormand.
Robert Lenoir
Um,
is a great defender too.
Yeah, he is.
Fantastic.
no, I appreciate Owen bringing that up because that was something I was thinking about was seeing that lineup. I know there was some thought, obviously having Jesus on the wing, thought to have Pedro out there, where Jesus was potentially. And it is interesting, Mike, to go back to it because I feel like we want to see Kalani in Alex Roldan's spot, just generally, not necessarily Club World Cup. Like we've been talking about this in MLS play last month, 2 months. Um, yeah, I don't. I mean, the ideology of Jesus and potentially playing him, swapping him with Albert is interesting. My question, excuse me, I remembered it, is how long do you give him, excuse me, at that spot in that match before you say, okay, I've seen enough. Like I know what Albert can bring me. Like let's get him going in there. Or if you're letting him ride the whole match out. If we're going with the idea of putting Jesus in Albert's spot.
I think this is a tough game to do that for, just because of
Yeah.
how we know. I think it depends on how Atletico Madrid play. I think what we expect is that they will sit and counter, which is then a tough position to put a guy like Jesus Ferreira, who really is a strong. Hey, let's link up. Let me get Danny Musovski in front of me, stretch the defense out, and let me turn and play him into space. I don't think you're going to get that situation a lot in this game. I think you got a lot against Botafogo. I think you get it a lot against MLS teams, but I don't think you're going to see that situation a lot in this game. So I think if you did that, a lot of people would say, "Hey, this isn't working," when that situation just isn't happening. And that's why it's tough to get him in there because he not that he's like a one trick pony, but like that he works in a very specific kind of system, where he gets to play off somebody, and have that opportunity to combine. And if that's not going to happen, he's really not going to be beneficial, to the level that Albert Rusnak will be.
Yeah. That makes sense. Um, what was it? Oh, I was gonna say we're talking about lineup changes. Um, there's a change that we might not be able to control. We haven't gotten an update since, but buddy, I'm trying to have Nico on at some point, so we will have Nico on at some point. Um, very nice guy, Nico Moreno. But Nico reported from Sounders training that Obed Vargas was jogging separately from the group. Um, so, yeah, we can talk about. Oh, he did mention that Kim Kiki was not out there yet, but that was 11, and we have not gotten an update since. I don't know if you guys have seen anything during the time that we've been recording, but what the hell do you do if Obed Vargas is not good to go? Who are you putting in his spot?
JP. I know that I've seen people say, including myself, that he's old, got tired legs, he can't move. But I think having a veteran player like that in the midfield to help calm things down, especially against a wide-up merchant team like Atletico Madrid, I think he would be incredibly beneficial for this side, especially when you have a hothead like Nuhu probably starting on the left-hand side again. I think as much as I want to see Danny Leva get more minutes, I think we'd be better off having JP starting in midfield. If Obed Vargas can't go, if Obed is even a little bit healthy, if you only play 45, you play him and you start him.
Owen, no thoughts?
Yeah, I mean it's good for him on a personal level too. We know Atleti is his favorite team. He had a fantastic performance against Botafogo that we've already talked about. You really want to let him keep pushing, but I do think you have to be careful. Um, he is literally your most valuable asset on and off the field right now.
Yeah.
Um, you cannot afford for him to get hurt. I think
God, can
if
you
you're, I think
imagine?
you would much rather lose this game against Atleti. He's already had a great game in the Club World Cup, and make sure you have him for the back half of this season. Then play him in this game, lose anyway, and then play the second half of the MLS season with Christian Roldan and insert either Joao Paulo, Daniel Leva, Albert Rusnak next to him,
Or Jesus Ferreira.
or Jesus
Oh,
Ferreira.
Jesus.
This is how we get there. This is how we get there.
So terrible. Okay. Um, God, so yeah, that leads us to Atletico Madrid. On what? This is Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, 3 p.m. Lovely 3 p.m. on a Thursday. Um, I know we've kind of hammered home the just look competitive. I mean, what the hell do you look for here? I mean, because as we've mentioned, they will be without a key defender. Yes, that's right. Still Atletico Madrid. They will rage bait you. I've heard it a few times. What's the merchant? Help me out here.
Wind up merchants.
Wind up merchant. Yes, that is still excellent. That should just be the title of this episode is Wind Up Merchant Preparation. Um, yeah, what the hell are you guys looking for on Thursday? Because this is gonna be fascinating.
Yeah, I mean the same thing as last week. A good game. Um, Competition. I think this game's going to ask something different of the Sounders. And I think we've seen them struggle against a low block. So I'll be curious to see how they do that against a different team, against a very, very strong team.
Especially against a team who has mastered the craft of the low block. Like, I mean, this athletic team, I don't know if you ever watch La Liga very often. I watch a stupid amount of football every day. It's ridiculous. I'm a sicko. But I've seen lower table La Liga teams still look competitive against this athletic side. A team like a Mallorca or a Deportivo have looked good against them. So I think if the Sounders play their game and do not fall for the traps that Atleti are going to set, whether it's on the counter or winding them up, I think the Sounders, again, will look competitive and they'll look good. The Sounders have a chance to surprise, honestly, the entire world in this match. Let's be honest, they're not going to do anything against PSG. They have the chance to surprise the entire world to look competitive and to look good in this match. Do I think they're going to win? No. But can these look competitive? Yes.
All right. That's your I feel like that's replaced, at least for the Club World Cup, that's replaced the championship mentality repetition. It's look competitive. Look competitive.
Don't
Um,
embarrass us. Yeah.
don't embarrass us. Hopefully, poor Auckland City. I mean, just complete belt to ass. Um, yeah, don't get Auckland City, I guess, is you can you imagine? What would we talk about after a 10-0 loss? I mean, I don't yeah.
We
So,
can
all
do
right.
nothing but just laugh.
Yeah. 10-minute laugh track, and then that's it. Then you prepare for Paris Saint-Germain. All right. Well, I guess until we see oh wait, do we have PSG? Wait, when is
Next
help me out
Monday
here.
for PSG. Next Monday at
Oh,
noon.
oh Jesus Christ. How are we gonna do that?
We will probably do. We'll do after both of them.
Yeah.
After these next two.
Look competitive. Yay.
Yay.
So yeah, goodness. Till we see you next time. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Don't get rage baited and do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey. So where are you going to watch all of the Sounder away games this year?
Away games for the Sounders. Well, since Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that's a great idea. Go Sounders. Hope we see y'all here.